Hello everybody and welcome back to the Everything Moto Racing podcast, episode 104. It is obviously myself, joined by Lauren this time. Hello Lauren.
Hello. It's been a long time. When was the last time we spoke to each other?
I think on the last podcast before the winter break.
It's been 7 months.
Yeah, oh my god. Yeah, we were meant to have Cameron and then he forgot and has other
he was like, let's record tonight. We all went, yeah, let's do that. And then he announces an hour ago, no, I'm busy. So I'm
busy. I've got too much of a life to deal with you lot. So yeah,
Declan and I don't have a life, so it's okay. This is why it's us.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just sat here building Lego, so it's fine.
Yeah. Sad.
Yeah, but yeah, we've got a lot to talk about in terms of silly season. Yeah. Firstly, though, I want to give a massive shout out to Mr. Tara McKenzie, who has won the Super Sport race, even lapped Nicola Balega, who's the championship leader.
Oh, God, I didn't even realise that.
Yeah, he won it. He stayed out on the slicks whilst everybody else pitted for wets, and the gamble paid off tenfold with a victory in 25 points and a victory for Moriwaki.
I wonder if he watched Brad Binder around.
Probably. Like apparently his mechanic was like, if you come in the pits, I'm not changing your tyres, so you better stay out there. And Taron was like, I've got nothing to lose. Like, I'll just stay out, and it paid off because it rained for a little bit. Everyone came in for wets. He stayed out on dries, and after a few laps, the rain subsided, and it was just dry track again. And Taron's luck obviously played in his favour today after a terrible season so far. It's great to see that what he's done, he's achieved a lot, Tara McKenzie, and he's had a terrible year so far, so it's really nice to see that he's got something going his way, you know? Yeah,
it's good to see that he's getting rewarded for the clear hard work that he's putting in. Just because people don't get results all the time doesn't mean that they're not trying their best, so...
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's good.
Exactly. But yeah, we've got a lot to talk about in the silly season era of things. The rumour mill has been spinning.
I can't keep up.
Has been... No, I can't. It's like something new every week, because there's one rumour that Johan Meyer, who, congratulations for giving birth to his... I don't know if it's his son or his daughter. I don't know.
But it's his first child anyway, so...
And they've named it either Johan if it's male or Joan if it's female. It's the same name as Johan Mir, basically.
Are you
I don't know if it's male or female. He's named it Johan, yeah. It's literally Johan Mir.
It must be a wee boy then.
Junior. Must be. I don't know, but if it's a girl, they can call it Joan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so congratulations to Johan Mir. There's a lot of riders. Alex Rins got married. Yeah. Luca Marini got married.
Marco Vinales had another child.
He did, yeah. God, I can't keep up with it all.
I think that's everything. Marco was like,
I think so.
I had his dog. Did you see that photo? Yeah. He was like, I'm missing racing. My dog's sick of me already.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's been a busy summer, especially in the realms of silly season, as we mentioned, with Johan Mir seemingly being linked to Gresini Ducati, and then that same rumour being rubbished the same day. There's a lot of moving around. For example, Alex Rins, his name is in the headlights for a few reasons. The first one being that he's a prime candidate at the moment to replace Franco Morbidelli in Yamaha. No, Johan Mir was also linked to that seat, but it looks like Alex Rins will be announced at Yamaha this week, heading up to Silverstone.
It's interesting. I could see it happening. I would love to see it happen. I think that would be a really, really good switch, and it's clear to see that Alex Rins can make bikes work. Obviously the Honda has been a bit rubbish.
And the inline 4 as well. Going back to an inline 4.
Exactly. And yeah, I think that environment could suit him well. Obviously he's injured at the minute, so we don't know his full potential at Honda, but I mean he's won a race on the LCR bike already this season.
And no one else has won a race on the Yamaha Honda this season.
Yeah, I think if he was at full fitness and able to ride at Silverstone, which is obviously something that's not happening this year, Iker Lecuona has already been announced to replace Alex Rins. I think if Alex was actually able to ride at Silverstone, we probably could have seen a repeat of Dakota this year. I think he could have been up there and he could have been on the podium or winning it. So I think that this move for him, I hope it's announced, because I'd really, really like to see it, basically.
Yeah, I would too. I think he could do really well in the Yamaha. It's similar to Suzuki in the fact that it was an inline 4.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, he switched from an inline 4 to a V4 with the Honda. To go back to an inline 4 is only helpful to him and Yamaha for their development. He also, the characteristics of the Yamaha being better in the corners, things like that, he's good at that with Suzuki, obviously cornering very well, but then he can also ride the Honda, which is horrendous for cornering and needs to be ridden pretty hard. Also works for the Yamaha because that also needs to be ridden pretty hard these days, apparently, according to Fabio Quartararo. So I can see Alex Rins' strengths translating very well over to the Yamaha.
Yeah.
It does help that he also has the Monster Energy sponsorships. There's no problems there.
Ooh.
So that also could push him in the way, because Mir is now a Red Bull athlete and not a Monster Energy athlete. So although it wouldn't be too hard to change Mir, because he's already changed from Monster to Red Bull, and he'd be happy to change back, but I think Rins, being a Monster athlete for as long as he has been as well, could definitely help him.
Yeah.
But I think as well, of the two, if you're looking at Mir and you're looking at Rins, although Mir's his CV is a lot better than Alex Rins, he's a double world champion, he's obviously a 2020 MotoGP world champion, I would say Alex Rins is a more complete and better rider than Mir, which is controversial.
Yeah, his consistency by far has been better than you and Mir, and we've put them on similar bikes on the Suzuki, and Mir performed better at first, and then Rins started performing better in the last couple seasons, and
he won like the last few races last year, didn't
exactly. And now both on a very similar Honda bike, and Rins has been performing better than Mir. So if you look at it, definitely in the last 2 years, Alex Rins is the person who I'd put my faith into, for sure. And as much as, yes, he gets on with everyone on the LCR team, it seems to be a really, really good environment for him. Some of the team members were at his wedding as well, so I think they all get on really well, but everyone maybe knows that it's not a championship contending bike, and it's maybe not going to be in the future. Whereas Yamaha, they want to turn things around and they want to win championships again, and that would be very in line probably with Alex's needs and wants as a rider. Everyone wants to win a world championship.
Yeah, and getting that factory seat again will be good for Alex, I think, because he's been kind of like the second in command again at Honda. He's not even being allowed to test the new Calex chassis or anything like that. So him having access to a factory squad and everything that comes with being a factory rider will definitely help Alex Rins mentally as well. Another thing I just thought, he was very good in Suzuki, as we know. Suzuki never had a satellite team. Suzuki were always just 2 bikes on the grid, and now Yamaha are also just 2 bikes on the grid. Rins is obviously very used to that.
Yeah.
That can also help benefit him, because he knows how a dynamic of 2 bikes on the grid works anyway, and not having to rely on a satellite team for data. Yeah,
no, that could work well. I think with the experience now that Fabio Quartararo has on the Yamaha, and someone who I just think fits all the moulds of what a Yamaha rider needs to be, for some reason it all makes sense in my head. If you put Alex Rins and Yamaha together, I see it, and it makes sense, and I think that would be a really, really good pairing. I think they'd work well together, and they both bring something different with the same aim and goal to bring the bike around again. So I could see it working.
It's funny actually, because Rins back in 2017 when he first joined MotoGP with Suzuki was actually linked to Yamaha back then, and he was on the Pons team in Moto2, and I always said Rins would do really well in Yamaha. I always kind of thought Rins and Yamaha would work well. I always, even back then, was like, Rins and Yamaha, kind of like, I liked that pairing, and obviously it never happened because he signed for Suzuki instead, and Yamaha went with Maverick Vinales, but it's nice to see that Rins is now getting that chance potentially at Yamaha. I think he could really suit Yamaha. I think Jorge Martin, I don't think, was the answer to their problems, but I think Alex Rins could genuinely be that answer to their problems. He's okay with riding a shitbox out of the back of the grid, as we've seen with him on the LCR Honda, and he can also do that pretty well. It's a shame he gets injured quite a lot, but I think him and Fabio could work really well. They've come up through the Moto3, Moto2 into MotoGP ranks. Obviously, Franco Morbidelli didn't do that. So these two guys are veterans in that paddock as well anyway. And I think that helps them as well. We've got a little fun fact actually about Mir and Rins I only discovered the other day. Neither rider has ever changed teams in their Grand Prix career aside from being forced to change teams because Suzuki pulled out or going up the categories. Neither of them have ever actually switched a team without, because they want to. This would be the first time
circumstances,
Rins. Yeah, this would be or obviously a category change. This would be the first time Rins has ever actually swapped teams because he wants to swap teams. Because in Estrella Galicia for years, then went to Pons, then went to Suzuki, forced out Suzuki's because they left. Same with Mir, with Leopard, VDS, and then Suzuki.
Well, that's going to be another thing that Yamaha are going to look at and go loyalty to a team.
Yeah, because both of them were linked to the move away from Suzuki last year anyway, even before it happened. But both of them were like, no, we want to stay at Suzuki.
That's the thing. I really couldn't see a change in Suzuki's lineup in the near future whatsoever. First there was Johan Mir being linked to Honda, and I was sort of going, that's not going to happen. Because a lot of people were maybe talking about certain Moto2 riders coming up and moving to Suzuki, and I was like, no, those two are going to stay at Suzuki for a long, long time. But because I remember Miguel Oliveira's name was very hotly lipped and tipped over for a Suzuki switch as well. But obviously we now know that. But Honda have already started putting the feelers out for a replacement for Alex Rins, with Iker Lecuona being stripped of his Suzuka duties this weekend. He is already a winner of the Suzuka 8 Hours, so it's not going to be too much of a loss for him. But he is now being moved away from the Suzuka 8 Hours project and replaced by... Who's the guy who rode last year in MotoGP? I can't remember his name now. Nagashima. Yeah.
Nagashima will race instead of Lecuona. Lecuona will race for the LCR Honda squad this weekend at Silverstone. The reason they are doing that is because they are evaluating him. This will be his third race of the season, I believe, for Honda. They're evaluating him for a potential seat next year. He has done pretty well on the Honda already this year. I think he was up to 10th at Assen at one point before I think he had a mechanical issue that broke down. He was at least 10th or 11th. He's done very well so far. I want to see how he can do maybe at Silverstone, but it looks like if there's no... For me, Honda do things for a reason, and I can't see them not opting to put Bradl on it, because Bradl rode at Assen, so why wouldn't he race again at Silverstone? So for them to pull a Corona away from the prestigious Suzuka Hours on Honda's soil in Japan, as a proven winner of the race previously, to then put him in MotoGP, there was no other reason than to evaluate him for a seat next year. He would deserve it. Leon Camier, the team manager for Honda in Superbikes, has said that he would like to keep Lecuona and Xavi Vierge, but has said he has got a plan B if they cannot. I would love to see Lecuona back in MotoGP. I think he's only 23. He's already got 2 years experience in MotoGP. He might even be 22,
Did he not only get 1 year?
Sorry?
Did he not only get 1 year in MotoGP?
No, 23. He was on that Red Bull Cola for a year. And then he got the bright orange one.
Was he?
He was 19 when he made his debut.
I don't remember that. I thought it was only a year.
Not? No, look at...
Was it not him and Petrucci got kicked out after a year?
Petrucci got kicked out after a year, but Lecuona... I'm just sending the photo now, there you go. That was 2020.
Oh, never mind then. But yeah, he was wrongfully put out of the class anyway.
Yeah.
So I'll stand by that. But my facts are clearly wrong. But I think he's made a home at Honda, and actually the kick out of MotoGP I think has actually worked in his favour. Obviously his team boss and World Superbike saying that they'd love to keep him just goes to show the performances that he's putting in there at the minute, that his team values him. And you're right that Honda and MotoGP wouldn't be putting him back on the bike if they weren't seriously considering it, and he fully deserves it. He's done a lot for Honda and World Superbikes, and obviously being able to do the likes of the Suzuka etc and win it, you know, he's got more and more accolades to his name, and he's so young, and he fully deserves a second chance at it. There's not many people that you can sit down and be like, oh, they deserve a second chance sort of thing, because most times it's right and it's the right move and someone has seen something somewhere. But I fully agree that Lecona was done dirty a couple of years ago. So yeah,
he was. And thing is, with MotoGP, it's often the case that when you're out. It's hard to find a way back in. Dovizioso managed to find a way back in, luckily. I think Lecona kind of was like, right, when he left MotoGP, he was very much like, I'm fed up with it, done and dusted with it, but he said the other day that MotoGP has always been the pinnacle, and which obviously gives a hint that he is open to a MotoGP return. I think we could see him do it. I would love to see him do it. I don't think there's too many people who would disagree with Lecona being on the MotoGP. I think he would be an asset for Honda, like especially if Marquez is to leave, for example. Their kind of rostrum is quite a little bit older. Johan Mir's 25, 26. Rins, who's like 27, 28. Nakagami's in his 30s. So to have a young guy like Lecona, who's already got 2 years of MotoGP experience, who's already got some Superbike experience, already won the Suzuka 8 Hours, having Lecona there and maybe being a Honda ambassador for like the next 4 years,
and who wants to be
can
there,
only help them.
It's a big thing. Like, he wants to be in MotoGP. He said it himself. I think that's maybe the difference with a lot of World Superbike riders, is that there's been a lot of World Superbike riders in the last year being linked to MotoGP, and none of them have gone because not many, like Top Rack and etc. hasn't been in MotoGP, so he doesn't know that what it's like. So to him to not make that move made sense because he doesn't know. Whereas Lecona going, do you know what, I've been kicked out, but actually if I got the chance to go back, I would go back. Why do you think the likes of Petrucci comes back anytime he gets an opportunity? I think it speaks for itself. I think he knows that if the opportunity was to arise, he would be silly to turn it down.
I'd agree. Well, speaking of Yamaha, because obviously we're talking about Rins, Yamaha have actually offered Franco Morbidelli a seat, but it would be in the Pate Yamaha squad in the World Superbike Series next to Andrea Locatelli, replacing the outgoing and top rack Razgatlioglu, who is going to BMW. Morbidelli has kind of declined the offer, basically saying that he wants to stay in MotoGP. As we know and have said previously in the podcast, why do I keep going Top Rack? Morbidelli has got an option in the VR46 squad. They've always kind of said that we want to keep them. There's also been some rumours about Morbidelli going to that VR46 squad, Bazecchi moving over to the Pramac squad, and Zarco being moved over to the Gresini team, which isn't a bad thing for any of them. Tony Arbolino has been linked to Repsol Honda as well.
That's silly.
Because there's a lot of rumours about Arbolino and Gresini, but like I said, he's been linked to a Repsol Honda seat, with Pernat saying that its potential is possible as well.
He's got to have everyone knocking at his door at the minute, though.
Him and Pedro, Pedro's a bit more difficult because of the KTM contract, but Arbolino, will have everybody, all eyes on him, because he's not contracted to anybody.
I think with the Morbidelli thing, I don't know, because I've just said about Lacona would be silly if he didn't come back to MotoGP if the opportunity arose. But for Frankie Morbidelli, unless that VR46 contract is in the bag and it's signed, I think Morbidelli should go to World Superbikes with the Yamaha squad, because I think that he could really, really shine in that squad in World Superbikes. I think him and Locatelli would be a really, really, really good combination. I think they'd work well, and I think they'd be pretty unstoppable if they could get it going, which I fully put faith in both of those riders. So it's a tough one, because yes, it would be great to see Frankie stay, but I'm completely contradicting myself, because I'm going to say that, in my opinion, unless the VR46 contract is signed, which it is just a rumour, he should go to World Superbikes.
Yeah, that's a good point. With the Superbike ride, Jonathan Rea has been linked to it. He has a contract with Kawasaki for next year, of course, as we know, but I'm sure he has a clause to get out of that. He has won. He won race 1 at Most on Saturday, which is really good. Very happy for him, because it's weird to think that not often we can say Jonathan Rea has won a race these days.
Yeah.
It's very weird.
I think silly season rumours this year are off the charts, and I don't know how it can be crazy last year, considering all the Suzuki drama and all. But that's why I think it's really silly with the fact that Johnny Rea is linked to Yamaha, because to me that one makes no sense at all. I feel like he's put the faith in Kawasaki for such a long time now, and obviously they've got all the championships together. Lowe's has just signed another year. They've been teammates for a couple of years now. I don't know. I heard him speak a few times at Donington Park, and maybe it is because he's still contracted that he's very, I'm with this team and I'm going to stay with this team. But he didn't give anything away that I heard that he would be interested in looking at anything else, or that there was any other offers on the table. Yeah,
well, it's weird, because Scott Redding, who said at, I think it was Donington Park, that his ride would be probably confirmed by Sunday, and it wasn't.
No.
But has now said that the whole Jonathan Rea thing is very interesting, and that there have been some rumours thrown around about Scott Redding potentially going to Kawasaki to replace Rea.
Yeah.
Which would maybe make sense, because there's a lot of thing about Random Mark and Scott Redding about who's going to get that BMW seat next to Toprak. I think Redding has been offered a seat at the Bonovo squad,
and he doesn't want that.
BMW.
Yeah.
He doesn't want that. You know, why do they keep demoting riders? They did it with Eugene Laverty as well. Why do they keep demoting riders to pull another one in? Like, work with your current riders. They got rid of Tom Sykes, and then he's come back and actually done pretty well.
But then, until his injury,
Yeah, until he had that. Was it 10 ribs?
10 ribs, or maybe 13 actually. Like cracked ribs or something
ridiculous.
Like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I think. Scott Redding was meant to be announced at Imola. Most is now.
That was it, Imola, yeah.
Most has now been and gone, and no one said anything, which is even more like.
Well, there's also rumours about Scott Redding maybe going to that Mark VDS squad next to Sam Lowe's.
But I thought that was only going to be one bike.
No, it's 2, I believe. But the issue with that, because Motor Corsa have got 2 bikes as well. Rinaldi has said he wants to stay in the Ducati family. Petrucci's just gone and bagged 2 podiums at Most.
Yeah.
Meaning he could potentially be in line for...
Bassani's probably crying into his pillows, you know?
Yeah. Because Bassani was also maybe in linked to that team, but is happy to stay in Motor Corsa. If Petrucci's doing that with the experience, I can imagine him being put on the Aeroba squad, because why would you not want 2 great riders? But then it's all just like musical chairs over in the Superbikes.
This is just opened a can of worms that we won't even...
Yeah, and it's all because Rea was on Toprak moved, of course. But
Toprak started
it. Redding has been linked to the VDS squad with Sam Lowe's. I was told maybe there's 2 seats. Could be wrong. Could only be 1 seat. If there are 2 seats, Redding could go back there. He obviously had that success in Moto 2 with the VDS squad. The only issue is his manager is Michael Bartholomew, who fell out with Mr. VDS a few years ago quite publicly and got sacked whilst in the MotoGP paddock. So there's an issue there.
Yamaha?
I don't know where anyone's going to go. Sorry?
Yeah, it would Scott Redding do Yamaha?
Maybe. I couldn't see why not, because they've got tall rider like Locatelli on it.
Exactly. In my head, when you say Scott Redding's going to move, it makes more sense for him to make the direct move to Yamaha rather than Jonathan Rea cutting his contract with Kawasaki to move to Yamaha for Scott Redding to go to Kawasaki.
Yeah.
Like, that just seems such a roundabout way to do things for Scott to get a seat in a big team when he could just go directly to Yamaha. There's a seat there, it's open, it's waiting for someone to fill it, you know what I mean? And if BMW are maybe putting their time and energy into Vandermark and not into Scott, why would he not just take the available seat on a good team?
Yeah, it is strange, and it's going to be very interesting to see how that all plays out. I think there's going to be a lot of weird things over MotoGP as well in terms of KTM, because firstly they tried to buy LCR Honda for next year to have maybe a Husqvarna squad with Mr. Marc Marquez and Pedro Acosta, which would have been their answer to their goal of trying to get Pedro Acosta on a seat without getting rid of one of their riders. The weird thing is, though, KTM have tried to buy the 2 grid slots available. Dorna have said no. KTM have tried to buy other teams. They've also been told no. LCR wanted Lucio Cecchinello of LCR Honda wanted to keep and maintain his relationship with Honda. So they've basically been no'd there. So then there's the whole Pedro Acosta situation of where's he going to go. Can't see them getting rid of Brad or Jack. Paul Espargaro's contracted till next year, but has said he will step down and allow another rider to come in if he's not good enough. He's back at Silverstone, so we'll see where his level's at. Given how well KTM are doing this year, I think Paul Espargaro can eventually, when he's back up to fitness properly, be up there. And then with Speed Week, an interview with Speed Week, Stefan Pyra, who is the CEO of the Pyra Motor Group, who own Gas, Husqvarna and KTM, has said that Augusto Fernandez will stay with Gas in MotoGP next year as well, meaning the only missing piece is Paul, who could get the flick.
Well, the only reason that Paul has even been doubted for next year is because of his crash at the start of the season, which is completely unfair to Paul. He deserves to be there 100% in that crash. You know, if you put that crash aside, 1 year in a team, he deserves to still be there. To me, all this KTM's trying to buy LCR, KTM's trying to buy the grid slots, KTM's throwing the kitchen sink, is making me think that they have no space for Pedro Acosta. They're desperate. They're desperate, yeah. Why is every single day we're hearing something new about something that KTM's trying to do to make slots, to free up seats, to maybe move their riders? If their only current option at the minute that hasn't been turned down is the fact that if Paul Espargaro returns and is not at full fitness or form, or he decides to retire himself, if that's there at the minute, from what we can see, they're only in for Pedro Acosta, they are screwed. They're going to lose him. Yep. And Pedro Acosta was open for talks from other teams from the 30th of June, and it's now a month after that, it's the 30th of July, and we have no confirmation and no hope of KTM freeing up a seat, as it stands anyway.
And it's interesting to see where Pedro Acosta could then feel. If you take KTM out of the situation, I don't know where he could go. All 4 Aprilia riders are locked in for next year, and the manager of KTM, I can't remember his name now, the guy who was in F1 years ago, he has confirmed that they want to keep all 4 riders and will stay with all 4 riders. Unless one of those guys was to step out, I can't see that changing. Yeah. Maybe Yamaha will buy the 2 grid slots and run a team, and maybe Pedro can slot in there. I don't know. Maybe he'll approach Honda, and Honda can get rid of Mir and put Pedro with Marquez. Maybe Marquez will leave Honda and Pedro can go in there. Maybe Pedro can go in LCR Honda, and the Corona can go to Repsol. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he has to go up. The way that everyone is speaking about him, like, there's no way he can stay another year in Moto2.
He wants to stay in Moto2 as well. No, he wants to go into MotoGP.
Yeah, whereas he was always saying in his rookie year, and even at the start of this year, he was going, no, it's okay, I'll stay in Moto2, it's fine. But I don't know, maybe if it was more of a to kick KTM into making space for him, but
yeah,
he's changed like a flick of a switch, and he's going, I want that MotoGP seat, and I want it now, because I think he's a bit scared of the opportunity passing him by with the likes of, I don't know if he maybe didn't expect the likes of Tony Arbolino to be so good this year, Jake Dixon. Alonso Lopez, Fermin Aldeguer, all people who have been put in for seats before have been names in the hat, is what I'm trying to say. And Pedro's gone, oh, actually, yeah, I need to go up next year, or else there'll be a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If you're offered a seat, you kind of got to take it. Like, I think, one example I can think of is Joe Roberts.
Yeah.
When he was offered that Aprilia seat in MotoGP, he turned it down, and his manager, who was the manager of American Racing, I can't remember his name, Eaton from American Racing, I don't know, said to him, he was annoyed at Joe, he said, if you get a MotoGP offer, you take that ride. Doesn't matter who it's with, it's a MotoGP seat. Joe Roberts, likely, the way his form's going now, I've got some more scoop actually about Moto2 in a minute. I'm going to write that in the notes now because it's big. So the thing is, he is now probably never going to get a MotoGP seat unless he suddenly comes out and wins in every race for the rest of his life in Moto2.
Unless they're that desperate for an American.
Yeah, that's the only thing to think of. But I can think they'd probably go for a Brit over an American.
Yeah. Oh, they would, 100%. But
Cam Bobio was meant to be the one that did it, but
the issue at hand is Pedro Acosta has now got all the power in his hands. Is the big issue, like, for everyone involved. Like, it was always the talk of Pedro Acosta being this great big thing, and Pedro Acosta can go wherever he wants, but at this stage right now, Pedro Acosta can kick any single person out of any team he wants if he wants it enough. And if KTM don't have the seat, he's going to boot down the door of someone else's office and go, put me on your back next year, and they're going to go, yeah, no problem. Because any other team is going to say yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like, any team will want him. And yeah, he wants to stay loyal to KTM, but KTM have made false promises of a 2024 MotoGP seat, and now they can't even uphold that.
It must be.
Maybe they were hoping for Jack to struggle or something. I don't know.
It must be annoying for Pedro, because especially over this last year, 2 years even, the words that he's had to say about Aki Ayo bringing him into this family, and you can really tell that he likes being a part of the KTM squad, and that Aki Ayo has helped him an unimaginable amount, and he feels obviously like indebted to him or something like that. That he owes it to him to stay with KTM, and it must be really, really horrible when you get to the stage where you know that if he was on the factory KTM bike, he could win a world championship in MotoGP. Like, no doubt, it might take a year or two, but yeah, he could do it, and Pedro knows he could do it, and what a payback that would be to someone who's brought you up from nothing and mentored you this whole way. And now he's sort of going, oh, but you aren't gonna do that for me? Like, look at what I've done for you, sort of thing. And you guys are now gonna throw it away because you've shot yourself in the foot by creating this great runway into MotoGP. And now you've got the creme de la creme, and you've got 4 unbelievable, really good riders, but now you could have the opportunity of maybe the next big thing. Yeah. And you're gonna throw it away.
The issue KTM have is that they've got a lot of upcoming riders on KTM contracts.
Yeah.
Even you go down to Moto3, you got Daniel Hogada leading the championship in Moto3, you got Rueda
Dennis Onchu
on a contract, you got Dennis Onchu, who could obviously replace maybe Rins next year in the Moto2 in the IO squad. But you've got all these top riders, and eventually KTM are going to be like, oh dear, suffering for the success kind of thing. But then
they are so screwed, and they're not in a position like Ducati, because the championship has already turned them down for getting 6 bikes on the grid, and that's where you go, we're not going to be able to do what Ducati have done here. No,
and I can't see Brad Binder leaving.
Why would he? He's performing well. He's third in the championship?
He's been with KTM since 2016. I don't think he would want to leave, And Jack Miller, I think he's happy there. I don't see why he'd want to leave either.
And I think
KTM ought to replace him.
I mean, he seems to get on there as well. It would be
and he gets on with Brad.
Yeah, it's a big surprise if they go. Well, actually, go.
It's a weird one. Very weird one. It'd be very interesting to see how it'll pan out, because we're only 8 rounds in. Still got 12 left.
I mean, it feels like we're the midpoint, obviously, because summer break usually indicates around the midpoint of the summer break, or the midpoint of the season. But we've more than halfway of the championship still to go. Yeah. And it feels very easy for us to be like, we're halfway through the championship now. We sort of know how it's going to play out. Absolutely not. The complete opposite.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Right, we'll go on to some into our predictions in a minute. But back in Moto2, Philip Salich has been confirmed at the Mark VDS squad.
That was pretty obvious, because he goes, I'm going to leave Gresini at the end of the year. Coincidentally, at the same time, Sam Lowes goes, guess what? Mark VDS and I are going to World Superbikes, and it doesn't take a genius to go, I wonder where Philip Salich is going.
But his teammate, I've been told, obviously don't take this as fact. This is a sprinkle of us. Take it with a tiny sprinkle of salt.
His
teammate will be a Dutch Moto2 rider. There's only 2 of them at the moment, which is Bo Benschneider and Zonta van den Gorberg. I spoke to Zonta and asked him. He said he would love to ride for the VDS squad and gave nothing away. And then the other one is Bo, but apparently their second rider is a massive shark, but I don't know who it would be. I know in Moto3, Leopard have signed Angel Piqueras, who is a Red Bull Rookies champion and could win the Junior World Championship the next time out, which is a big shock because they've taken him away from the KTM family, away from the Red Bull family and all that.
But to be fair, Red Bull have already shot themselves in the foot because they've no space for Piqueras, because they've got 18 million other Red Bull riders.
The other Moto2 scope, exactly, is that 3 riders, again, take this with a pinch of salt, have tested for the Ital Trans squad to replace Joe Roberts. At Mazzano, they tested the 3 riders being Jaime Masia, Ivan Otola, and Diego Moreira. With the most impressive rider getting the spot, which I have been told is Diego Moreira.
Interesting.
Yeah, again, take this with a pinch of salt. But that's what I've been told, so I thought I'd tell you lot as well, of course.
He's lying to you guys.
Yes, I'm lying to get clicks.
He's just trying to get clicks.
Clickbait.
When I think about it, I think Masia needs to go up to Moto2, so obviously he's top of the list in my opinion. I thought Mark VDS, because obviously I'm assuming Tony Arbolino's also gonna leave the squad at the end of the year. And I just thought Mark VDS because I'm thinking there is a chance that Masia could win the Moto3 championship this year. He's only 20 odd points behind Danny Holgado now, so he's won a race. He looks strong. He's been consistent. Masia's championship charge for once this year has looked somewhat promising. Touch wood. I don't want to put the Scud on because that's typical Jamie Masia fashion. To bottle it. But I thought that sort of made sense. But knowing that Foggia came from Leopard, the Ital Trans rumour would make a lot of sense. And maybe Masia, would see that projection then maybe into MotoGP, because you're going, I can get a bump up into Moto 2 with the Talchans, and then, you know, the doors are all open for MotoGP. But now that you've thrown that, it's a Dutch rider as the second Morbidelli rider, I'm going, what?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I do have another rumour, actually, thinking about it. Again, I've asked his teammate to see if I could get some information, but I could not. I'm just going to try and find it from the person who sent it me. Here we go. Oh yeah, Ivan Ortola's now a Red Bull athlete as well, which is an interesting thing. Diego Moreira's a Red Bull athlete, so maybe there's a potentiality of a KTM link maybe for IO.
Surely the IO squad has to take, I'd say it'll be whoever places higher out of Onshu and Holgado. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and there's one more thing that I can't see happening, and this one is a full-on, like, I think the person who sent me this has absolutely zero information to back it up, but I thought I'd feed it out to the world anyway. That RT Gas to Grassini in Moto 2. But again, I haven't seen any substance behind that, but they have informed me of that, and so I thought I'd pass it on to the world. But again, I really just cannot see that being true, but we never know. He's a taller rider.
Stranger things have happened.
Movers. Yeah, exactly. You never know. And it was only like, I don't know. But we'll have to see.
I don't know, it's all a bit much. It's all a bit crazy. I didn't know that Leopard had signed Piqueras though, because that is really interesting.
Yeah, because that pulls him away from it.
But surely that means that Masia, or Suzuki for that matter, is linked to a move away somewhere.
Yeah, I think maybe, well, Suzuki had been doing that Ovale Cup thing with Philip Farioli as well, and Masia. Farioli's been spanking them on it.
Maybe Suzuki's just done.
Yeah, he's like 26 nearly now.
Really?
Yeah, I've got a poster. Where is it on my wall? I don't even know where it is. Oh, I must have taken it down. Oh, it's over there now, so you can't actually see it. From years ago, when Arenas was... It was when... Who was it? It was from Mahindra sent me it. They're all signed and all that, but it's got like... Jorge Martin's on it, Stefano Manzi is on it, Pecco Bagnaio's on it. You've got all these like all young riders when they race from Mahindra, and Tatsuki Suzuki is on that as well.
I'm looking this up right this second. I need to know how old he is. And
he has been around for years. Suzuki, like, I thought Leopard would be the one, but...
Oh, he's 25!
Yeah, he's 25, so... But when he's 26...
He'll be 26.
He's 26 in September. Yeah. So next year could potentially be his last year in Moto 2. 3. Like, yeah, he's been around... When was it? 2015, I think, is Moto 3... Yeah, 2015.
Can you still ride in Moto 3 when you're 28? Or do you leave before you're 28?
You have to leave before you're 28, I think. I think if you turn 28 mid-season, it's okay.
But then he'd be okay for 2 more years. But you can't then start the next season. So he's got 2 years, potentially. That's true.
He's won a race this year, but then he's just been nowhere. And he got replaced, obviously, for 2 rounds by Adrian Fernandez.
Yeah.
Who is still pretty young, Adrian Fernandez. Like, I don't see why he couldn't be...
He'd be back in at some point, I'd say.
I hope so. How old is he? That is not the one I was looking for. This guy was born in 1963. He's a former race car driver, though. So
there you go.
He raced in Le Mans series, IndyCar as well. Oh. Yeah, Adrian Fernandez is only 19.
Well, yeah, because Ryan was, what, 22? 23?
Yeah, so...
I don't know. Why not? I don't know. It's all melting my hair a little bit, to be honest.
Yeah, I can understand why.
So I'd quite like it to be back to racing so that people talk about that. And stuff gets announced. Like, I don't know. Philip Salet's is the only real
confirmed one. The other ones are just rumours, which... I mean, as rumours go, don't always believe them, because I remember when Sky Sports confirmed Danny Pedrosa to the Petronas Yamaha squad, and history tells us that never happened. So, but yeah, we're going to do our predictions now for Silverstone, because why not? We haven't done them in a while, as we know, and it's going to be interesting to see because, yeah, it's been interesting so far.
Yeah. I mean, the season has been full of surprises, but also at the same time, kind of not, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, everyone that we sort of predicted to do well this season has done well.
Yeah, like Pecco's obviously been killing it. I can see him just fully sending it for the championship.
Yeah. The only thing I'd be concerned about is that, again, touch wood, that nothing happens.
Yeah,
it's like,
I want to see Honda coming back.
Yeah, the chance of someone injuring themselves. Because obviously we've seen how that's affected riders in the first 8 races and how much it takes you out of the championship. If that happened to one of the front runners, that could really open things up.
Yeah, it really could.
But I want to see...
Obviously, we don't want to see any riders injured.
Yeah, I want to see more consistency from people other than Pecco, is the problem.
That's it. Like we said on the podcast the other week, like, you can win this championship by being consistent. How Johan Mir did it a few years ago. Like, consistency will win you this title because the fact that Pecco has been able to being allowed to make this many mistakes and has been allowed to kind of, like, a Honda, the Ducati have won every race barring Acosta this year.
Well, I mean, he hasn't made as many mistakes in the last... So, like...
In the last 3 races, he's finished either first or second.
Yeah, so Mugello, Sachsenring, Assen, he's been typical Pecco style and being pretty dominant. So, I don't know if things go the way they went last season. That's it. It's done. But... I don't know, I feel like there is room for error, and I think because, one, it's such a jam-packed schedule, no one knows what it's going to be like with sprint races and main races, and just having so many back-to-back weekends, no one knows how that's going to go, and then the potential increased risk of injury with there being more races.
Yeah, because we've got 12 rounds, 24 races left. You've got, by now he's up ahead with 194 points. Martin's second with 159, and Bezzecchi's only a point behind. Yeah. So there's definitely Binder's like another 40 points back. So I think it's one of those 3 will win the title this year, barring something amazing like we saw from Bagnaia last year. But I don't know anyone who's as near as consistent.
No, but we never know because Pecco was never consistent until.
No, the thing is, Pecco's got crashes in him.
Yeah.
Pecco and pressure do not mix well, as we know.
No. Enea Bastianini is someone who I think really could be the cat amongst the pigeons because
he's 18th at the moment.
Yeah, well, we all said it at the start of the season, but who's to know that you're going to get crashed out in the bloody first sprint race of the year and break your collarbone? Like, Paul Spargo could bloody be leading the championship at the minute, but we don't know because we haven't seen him at his full potential. We haven't seen Enea Bastianini at his full potential because you don't come back from breaking your collarbone and then just being like, oh, yeah, I'm fine. Yeah. Miguel Oliveira, we haven't seen it at his full potential. Marc Marquez, we haven't seen it at his full potential. Like, there's so many riders that have been taken out of the equation because of injury, because of how many races there is. Now, the sprint races have been great and interesting, but as a whole of a race weekend, there's too much opportunity to get injured.
Yeah, far too much.
And that includes free practice, because that's what happened to Paul Spargo. Wasn't even in a race that he got injured.
No, exactly.
But
you never know, do you?
Yeah.
Right. Shall we move on to these predictions?
Yeah, sorry. I just went on. Right. Another tangent.
That's all good, don't worry. So we're going to start with pole position in Moto 3. Myself and Cameron have gone for Dennis Onchu.
I think Sasaki will go well around Silverstone.
Yeah, I think so as well. Because they're using a new layout this year, aren't they, in the new pit straight on Hamilton Street?
Oh, they're using the F1?
Yeah, they're using the F1 layout this year. Which will be interesting because you won't see that. You know, Mir, Rins and Marquez overtake for the win. Yeah. Obviously, we won't see that this year. So, but it will cause a lot of drama because that, when they go down the straight, it's a really tight corner at the bottom to flip back. I think we'll see some chaos there.
Oh, I need to look at the layout now. So the whole track is different?
No, so it's like the same layout in terms of corners and things like that. but the first corner will be different. If that makes sense. So they'll be using this layout. I'm sending it there instead of. It's terrible for people listening at home, I know, but
just look it up while Declan's sending it to me. So look up the F1 layout.
That's the F1, and that's the MotoGP one, ex-MotoGP one.
International Pitch Street.
Wait, no, that's wrong. Don't worry. So, but where Woodcote and Copse is, as you can see, at turn 8 and turn 9, Copse was originally last year turn 1, but now it's turn 9.
Oh.
And Abbey will be turn 1 now.
So they used wait, I'm so confused. They used the national pitch straight before?
Yeah, MotoGP used the national pit straight, that's right. And now we're going to use the international pit straight.
Okay.
So you know the one, have you been to Silverstone?
No.
Oh. Well, you know where that massive big building is with a massive wing on it?
Mm-hmm.
That used to just be a straight, but now it's the pit straight.
Right, okay.
Yeah, basically. That should be interesting because MotoGP used to have that as the first straight, but then for some reason they changed. But it will be interesting to see because I think turn 16, 17, 18, Vale and Club provide a lot more chances for overtakes, whereas Brooklands, Luffield and Woodcote, not as many. And we can see some harsh moves, I think, there, which I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah. I'm interested. I never really look at the track layouts. Like, I never really pay attention. So.
I spend so much time. There's a website, what is it? Website called Silverstone. Oh, what's it called?
There's like a mini intermission here where I actually pay attention to what the circuit looks like.
Yeah.
I only know the Red Bull ring because it looks like the wheel.
Oh yeah, the Red Bull ring.
If you showed me that, I could figure that out, but otherwise I couldn't tell you any circuit.
See, there's a website, called the racingcircuits.info. I love that because you can go on it and see every current layout, but then there's got this thing at the bottom and you can see every layout of the track that's ever had.
Oh.
And it's cool as hell. Like, look, this was Silverstone in 1949.
Well, I think they should. That's really boring.
Yeah.
I think they should but then bring MotoGP back to Donington Park.
Potentially.
I mean, I don't think it would work, but it'd be fun.
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely be fun. But yeah, like there's loads of little circuits within. Yeah, that's what I mean. I just spent hours looking at these tracks and how they evolved and things like that. But yeah, back on track, literally.
Sorry, yes, folks, I'm just getting an educational lesson here.
Yeah. Right, who are you going for third place in Moto3, please?
Third place in Moto3. It's going to be one of the usual suspects, to be honest. Onshu,
okay. Well, I've gone for Moreira and Cameron Holgado. We'll stick with Cameron. Second place, he's gone for Onshu. I've gone Sasaki. Who have you gone for?
I'm going to go Sasaki as well.
Nice choice. And for the win, I've gone Holgado, Cameron Macia and Lauren.
Holgado. Why'd you do this to me? I had that picked out.
Yeah, well, you might actually score some points this time then.
Such a lie.
Right, for Moto2 pole, I've gone with Dixon. Home race, I think he'll do it for pole at least.
See, I want him to win it. And I feel like what he did in Aston was like the perfect way to do it.
Yeah.
Now, I know he didn't do it intentionally by putting himself second place, but taking that pressure off by not getting pole position and not having everyone be like, oh my god, your pole position. He's just going, I'm starting a normal race in a normal position.
Yeah.
I think that played to his advantage. I don't know, because he will be on the bounce. So a pole and a win is still...
Yeah. Gonna need an answer.
Oh.
Only for 1 point.
Oh, do you know what then? Yeah, let's go Jake Dixon. I want to see it.
Oh yeah. Cameron's gone Acosta. Third place. He's gone with Salach. I've gone with Dixon. Don't know if he'll win. And Lauren's gone for...
I'm going to go with Tony Arbolino then.
Nice. Okay. Well, for second place, I've gone with Arbolino. Cameron Dixon and Lauren.
I'm going to go Pedro Acosta.
Okay. So we've got a different winner to the norm. Okay. Who have you gone for the win?
I'm going to go Jake Dixon for the win.
Nice. I did think about doing that.
I was like, Alonso Lopez.
Yeah. I was thinking about that, to be fair. But Cameron's gone Arbolino. I've gone with Acosta.
I think it'll be those three. I think because Dixon obviously got the win in Assen, so he's going to be on the bounce. Home race, you've just won your first Moto2 race. You've now had 5 weeks to think about how you're going to do it again. He's going to have a plan in mind, and he's overcome the pressure of winning a race now, so the second one will come a lot easier than the first. I think there's more opportunity now for the championship to get a bit more aggressive between Arbolino and Acosta. So that could be interesting, and like there'll actually be a bit of a battle between the two of them.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be very interesting.
I just kind of want to see that happen, but
yeah, me too. Like I want to see them actually battle it out.
Yeah, I want to see people battle on track. Like it's sort of happening. Well, it does happen in Moto3, obviously, but it doesn't happen in any of the other classes. So
yeah, that makes sense. Right. So, pole position in MotoGP. I've been boring. I've gone with Bagnaia.
Who did Cameron go for? Oh,
Miller. Oh. He always goes for KTMs, doesn't he? He likes KTM.
Yeah. Can I ask who got pole last year?
Sure. I'll find out for you now. Bear with me. 2022. It was. I think it was Pecco. Let's have a look. British GP pole position. Oh, was Johan Zarco.
Oh. Okay, Jorge Martin.
Nice.
And then answers my question.
Yeah, nice. Right, I've joined with Cameron on the sprint race winner with Bagnaia. Lauren's going for.
Oh, it could be anyone. I don't know whether I should, this second half of the season now, go for the obvious choice or go for...
If you want to score points.
Yeah, but like it's so boring if we all just go Pecco.
Yeah, I know.
Brad Binder.
Oh, nice. Okay, Binder. He's already got 3, I think, so... My podium, by the way, is really boring because I'm going in it for points.
Cameron's isn't boring.
No, Cameron, third place is going with Bagnaia. Third. I'm surprised by that. I've gone with Bezzecchi, who is third in the championship, and you've gone for...
I think it could be a surprise. Oh.
Yeah.
I should have thought about this a bit more. Right, I put Jorge Martin on pole. I put Brad Binder to win the sprint race. So that means that Enea Bastianini is going to be third place.
Enea Bastianini third. That is very out of the park. I like that. Bastianini. Second place. I've gone with championship lead. The guys in the championship who is in second, Jorge Martin. So I bet you can guess who I've gone for the winner. You've gone... Cameron has gone for Binder, and you've gone for...
I'm also going to go... No. Yeah, Brad Binder.
Binder, nice. As you can guess, I've gone for championship leader, Bagnaia to win.
And you've got it right this
Cameron
time.
has gone with... Yeah. Cameron has gone for Vinales. Which is very interesting that he blinks that he can get Specifilia win there. Aleix got a podium there last year.
Yeah, that's what
the year prior.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if they're at that. Because the only reason he got on the podium in Assen was because of Brad Binder.
That's true.
So, I don't know. Are you like a good?
Sorry?
Why are you just sitting there?
Who have you gone for? Sorry, I was zoned out. Who have you gone for? I was looking at a Termas to Rio Hondo layout from 2008 to 2012. Looking at the long course of chicane.
Oh my god!
Sorry, who have you gone for, please?
I'm gonna go with Jorge Martin.
Jorge Martin, nice.
I think Pecco's gonna ball it.
Gee. Okay, very interesting. Okay, well that's probably all we've got time for, as you can imagine.
Declan has more pressing issues to deal with right now.
Apparently so. Seeing the layout of Termas Rio Hondo is clearly
more exciting.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening to this podcast. And we're back next weekend after Silverstone with more coverage of MotoGP.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll have a confirmed Alex Rins in Yamaha.
Yeah, that'd be good. Just a confirmed anything to talk about, to be honest.
Yeah, honestly,
that's why I'm putting slightly bolder predictions out there in the hopes that we don't show up to Silverstone and just go, oh look, it's the same as the first 8 races.
Yeah, wow, who'd imagine that?
Yeah. I'm in my Pecco Bagnaia era, ladies and gentlemen. I'm about to make the comeback of the season.
Hell yeah. Just don't get behind the wheel of a car whilst you've been drinking and you'll be fine.
No, I'd never. You had to bring it up, didn't you?
Yeah, of course. Is it tradition now, isn't it?
Prosecco Bagnaia.
Prosecco Bagnaia.
Wow.
He does.
There you go.
I think Bad MotoGP memes made a really good joke about it the other week. It was like something about riders and their like what they're going to be doing in the summer or something like that, and Bagnaia of course was like crashing a car. Yeah. I think that's all we've got time for, but I hope you've enjoyed listening. Yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening. We're back next week. Thank you and goodbye. Bye.